Welcome back to the next episode of DDO 10-Minute Tips. This is an update to multiclassing, and I am just about ready to level up with this character, Elementat Tutoris, and I'm currently at a little bit of a sticking point. It took me a little while to get into the mindset that would be a rogue wizard combination, but once I found the groove, everything started to go a little bit better. Now, since then, I've gone and purchased some things. I'm currently level 2. I only have 702 platinums. Like I said, I went and purchased some things to try and bolster some different aspects. One of which was a sturdy ring of protection, which helps out with balance and armor class. I purchased a charismatic ring, which added 1 to my charisma, which whenever I equip it will take me from a 9 to a 10, and I won't take any hits for anything involving charisma, like bartering. I also purchased a helm that gives +3 to haggle, which means that I can get a little bit more for whatever I do sell. But it also has +3 bonus to spell sight, which will help out with my spells. Okay, now the sticking point that I'm at is regarding leveling up. Okay, now this is one of the things you have to think about whenever you're going multi-class, is whether one of the classes is just going to be a splash, meaning only 1 or 2 levels, or you're going to level them both up at the same time. By taking a splash of, let's say, a thief, there's a lot of boost you can get to more or less keep your basic thieving skills up to date, like search, spot, hide, sneak, open locks, and whatnot. And a lot of people do that. But you also miss out on a lot of other possibilities. Okay. For example, here under Mechanic, you can work on increasing your ability with a bow if you choose to do so. You also miss out on some alchemical attacks that come in handy, as they are not spells and do not consume spell components. Under Thief Acrobat, which is a more or less natural complement to a spellcaster, you get bonuses for working with your quarterstaves. Okay, such as I took 3 ranks in Sly Flourish, which deals an additional 3 damage and a +3 critical threat range for the weapons you have equipped. In this case, it'd be stabs, which comes in handy for close-in combat, which happens quite a lot when you solo, and fairly often when you run with a group. So the question is, do I just want to go with a splash of Thief or a splash of Mage, or do I want to go up with them at the same time? So that's something I'm going to have to think about here for a little bit. So I'm going to take a little break, and we'll get back to this here in a moment. Okay, so what I have decided to do is I'm going to work on leveling them both up and see where that gets me. For and that's might be a little bit of a problem. I don't know. We'll find out. Because for any given level, a mage is actually going to be a little weaker than a full mage at that level, because I'll have half my levels in the Thief Acrobat. However, I do have the added bonus of being able to defend myself when a little better and a little more uniquely when the mobs get extremely close. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to pause here and provide a little bit of an update later. So, welcome back. This is now Elementat, level 4 Rogue Wizard combination. To start off with, I had a bit of a problem trying to play this character. I was trying to play the wizard part as a wizard and the rogue part as a rogue. The rogue part worked out pretty well, but I had a lot of problems once I got up to level 3. I just ticked over and it just wasn't working. So I took a little time off to try and think about what either I was doing wrong or what was wrong with the character. So it's now the end of January, and the Risia Ice Festival is going on, hence the snow and the bluish cast to the light. Now, the way I was playing the wizard was typically what you would do as a wizard that is soloing, which is basically offensive work, offensive spells and things like that. And running multi-class, you're always going to be running a little bit behind where a single class character would be. So the offensive power or capabilities just weren't there as a wizard. What I came down to is that it was a combination of how I had set the character up and my mindset. Now, if you remember back or have seen the video, one of the earlier videos, I talked about backstory and how it didn't have to be detailed, just a general feeling of how the character came to be, or what their basic goal was, and things like that. Besides getting platinum, storing up as much in the way of goods as possible. So I got to rethinking it, and my approach to the character was not conducive for Elementat. So what I did is I went in and adjusted the spells from offensive to crowd control. And by crowd control, I mean things that, well, control the crowd. Putting them to sleep, doing sound bursts which stuns them, ray of enfeeblement to make them weaker. And once I did that, and after running a few dungeons, it became a lot easier because the combination made sense. Because for a true thief, a true rogue, they don't want to be in the front line. Their skills don't allow them to be in the front line. So what they need to do is either, number one, be not seen, or number two, to disable any potential threats. Not necessarily by killing, because rogues just aren't that strong, and neither are wizards physically. There are things you can do to increase the strength, which would be, your gear. You can do that through gear and tomes, and if you want, certain potions will take care of that. But a rogue wants to be around the outside. In a group, aside from disabling traps and opening locks, they are more built for working behind the scenes. Let everybody else get in there, let them take the aggression or aggro, let them take the damage. Meanwhile, the rogue wants to be on the outside, doing things like backstabbing, extra damage, hindering. In the case of Elementat here, hindering them by putting them to sleep or stunning them. So once that gelled, I was able to very quickly go from level 3 to level 4. So whenever you create any character, especially multiclass, which is 1, 2, or 3 classes, you really need to think about how everything works, how to synergize, get everything to work together. In this case, the intelligence is a boon because it helps out with gaining skills for both the wizard and rogue aspects. But as the thief acrobat, having the background of being able to use a staff, which is a traditionalist kind of caster thing, and there's an enhancement that will get you a bonus for using a staff, makes a lot of sense, because then you can get your staff that does not only just physical damage, but also will be a boost to your spellcasting abilities. So don't give up on a character because it's kind of tough to play. Rogues and spellcasters will always be a little tougher to play than your basic melee types, but give yourself some time to get into it and take a little time to think about how the character is put together. Alright, so I wasn't going to keep this character around. I was just using it for demo purposes, but now that I found the synergy for this character, I think I'm going to keep him around for a while. So, until next time, keep your weapons clean and sharp.